You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Hey loves, welcome back to the Sensual Genius channel. In this video, I'm going to give you a review of South Central Love from Tubi. This is another romance movie that I watched on Tubi. And it's featuring Jordan L. Jones as Meech, Christina Cooper as Bria, Jamal Henderson as Devontae, Vanessa Simmons as Vanessa, Tim Chantarong as Shy Boy, and Tyler Antonius as Nate. So it starts off with Devontae having a nightmare of his younger self running from a monster in the jungle. Then he wakes up panting heavy. He gets dressed and leaves the house and runs into some niggas that jack him for his shoes. Like, they just walk up on him and like, let me get them shoes. And he takes them. He politely steps out of them and let him get them. And they go on about their business. In the next scene, Meech is in a convenience store chasing some girls. And I thought, when I first, I thought that Devontae was on his way to meet Meech in the store, but they don't have no interaction whatsoever. So basically, Meech being in this movie was pointless. Like, it was a lot of pointless stuff that was happening in this movie, but this was pointless. I thought they was gonna interact. They never interacted, and he didn't show up in none of the other scenes. It was just that one scene, and I guess that they put him in there to have a familiar face, the face of somebody who's been in a lot of movies and stuff like that, to kind of be able to put him on the cast and for people to support because they feel like he's in it. And if I was to watch this movie because I thought he was in it, I would have been pissed. He was literally in it for like 3 seconds and then he wasn't. So Devontae meets his friends at the same convenience store. They start talking about the things in the hood, like unhealthy food options and stuff like that. Devontae basically is talking about how he's tired of the fact that they don't have healthy options to choose from or whatever. And his friends is like, nigga, this is a gas station. And this is the hood. What do you expect? And he's like, that's the point. We should expect more. We shouldn't just settle for what they give us because this is the hood. Like, make it make sense, sir. So they finally notice that Devontae isn't wearing any shoes and they ask him what happened. He tells them that he got jacked for his shoes and they like, how you let somebody take your shoes like that? You should have did this, you should have did that. He was like, well, I'd rather give up my shoes than my life. And they like, touche, my nigga, touche. When they leave the store, they see his girlfriend with another dude. So he runs up to the car to confront her. So the dude winds the window down and tell him to chill. And the girl is like, she kind of like starts panicking. She gets out of the car. She's like, it's not what you think or whatever. He like, it's exactly what I think. You cheating on me with this nigga. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. And he walks away. And then she starts yelling behind him. At least he does this, that, and the third for me. He pays my bills. He buys me things, whatever. And the dude is like, oh, so you only with me because I do things for you? And then he like pulls off while she's standing on the side of the road yelling at Devontae, and she starts yelling behind the car like, don't leave me. And I'm like, that's what you get, because you thought you was that girl and you thought you was gonna get away. You thought you was gonna be able to finesse that situation and still have both of them, but it didn't work out like that. That's what you get. In the next scene, Bria goes to her house with her friend and they talk about the party. Also, in this movie, they were not saying these people's name. So all I know is her friend, his friend. That's all I know. They weren't really saying these people's name like that. So they're talking about going to a party or whatever, and Bria tells her that she doesn't have anything to wear, so they decide to go shopping. However, Bria's dad walks in while they're talking and asks what they're getting into today. Bria ignores him, but her friend tells him that they're going shopping. And at first I thought that she was saying that so he could give them money, but that's not what happened. So I'm like, why is she why would she say something? Because if it was me in the situation and my friend wasn't talking to her dad, I'm not talking to him either. I'm not saying nothing either. If she don't respond to him, I'm not responding to him. Like, why is you responding? Like, I thought she was going to, like, she was doing it so he could give the money, but that's not what happened. So I felt like that was also like uncalled for, but whatever. He asked Bria, the dad asked Bria why she didn't answer him, and if she ignores him for a while, but then she tells him the same thing that the friend said, we're going shopping or whatever. He still doesn't give him the money. I'm like, dang, he ain't had him nothing. What was the point of this interaction? But I think the point was for us to see that she doesn't have a good relationship with her dad. So he tells them he has to go to the office, and then he leaves. And when after he leaves, Ria's friend looked at her and was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm good." So that's what makes me think that they had this interaction to show us that she was beefing with her dad. Was it executed properly? No, but you know. So it goes back to Devontae, who is back home now. His mother questions him about his whereabouts and he tells her he was hanging with his friends. Then he tells her that they are going to a party, and she tells him to take out the trash before he goes anywhere. And he's like, "You don't gotta yell at me or whatever. You can talk to me calmly. Like, you don't gotta yell." And she like, "Don't you raise your voice at me. I'm your mother. I can talk to you however I want to." It kind of makes us think that Devontae doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, but that wasn't true. So I don't understand the point of this either. I guess just to kind of be filler in a, you know how sometimes they be like filler stuff in movies. I guess that's why. So the next scene was a barber shop. God dang, Mooney. That was pretty much pointless. It was a barbershop scene that was pretty much pointless. People was just in the barbershop getting a haircut talking, and none of the main characters were in the scene. So I did not understand why it was needed. But again, I guess it was just a filler scene. I feel like this movie had a lot of filler scenes and scenes that did not make sense to me. I was like, okay. But it goes back to Bria and her friends shopping. They're at the swap meet now, looking for something to wear to the party. While they're shopping, they run into Devontae and his friends, and Devontae is immediately mesmerized by Bria. He just broke up with his girlfriend. He got a slot to fill. She's beautiful. He trying to fill that slot. So his friends and him he don't say nothing, but his two friends like compliments Bria and her friend, but they like ignore them and keep walking. In the next scene, Devontae arrives at the party with his friends, and he runs into a dude that he knew, and he asks him if he's, and the dude asks Devontae, is he still writing? And Devontae tells him he is, and the dude tells him to stick with it because that's his purpose. Like, you need to keep writing. Like, it ain't really nothing around here, and I don't want you to lose focus. Like, I want you to continue to do this because this is gonna be your way out, basically. And this is set, I think, in Compton. The setting is Compton or whatever. And then he tells Devontae, and Devontae is kind of like, I don't really want to leave. I don't want to leave my boys. I don't want to leave the city. Like, I want to stay here. And he tells Devontae it's okay to grow away from people who aren't growing with you. And he introduced him to a few people, but Devontae spots Bria and approaches her. He recites some poetry to her, and like she's like, what's going on? And he like, never mind. And then they start talking or whatever. They start talking, and like she's acting shy at first, but they have a conversation, and he asks for her number and she gives it to him. And like after she gives him her number, her friend walks up and is like, "You ready to go?" And I'm like, dang, y'all just got there. Y'all only been there for like 30 seconds. Like, and you already rushing her to go home. And so they leave, and Devontae is just staring at her like, I gotta make her mine. Like, she gotta be mine. Like, she bad. Like, I need her. I want her. And then his friends walk up to him while he's like staring at her, and they hype him up for getting a number. They like, oh, I saw you got her number or whatever. Okay, I see you. I see you. You was in a relationship earlier. You broke up. You were single. Now you're on your way back to a relationship. Gave yourself no time to get over the first girl. But I guess. I mean, they are young, I guess. But I don't think that they're teenagers. I think that they're like in their early 20s. Like, cause college kept coming up or whatever. I think Devontae is probably like, I'll say 19, 20. I think they're like in their early 20s. Maybe they're definitely older than 18. So they're not teenagers. They're college age. So one of his friends gets into it with Timothy Delgado. That's why I know him as. I don't know how to pronounce his other name, but his character. And he like pulls out a gun and like starts waving it, and the boy, they duck and like they like back off or whatever. And to me, it's like the laziest punk scene that I have ever seen. The laziest I've ever seen a nigga punk another nigga. Like, it was so, like, he was suggesting, like, back up if you don't want me to shoot you. Not on some, nigga, I'll shoot you in your face if you don't back up. He was like, if you don't want me to shoot you, you better back up. It was like, I was like, is he supposed to be a gangster? Because it says his name is Shy Boy. Yeah, it says his name is Shy Boy. Like, so I'm like, is he supposed to be a gangster? And if so, he's not like doing a good job. I don't believe him. I don't believe you, sir. You're not doing a good job. But he dissolved the situation, and the fight, it breaks up. But whatever. So in the next scene, Devontae's friends come to his house, or they walk to Devontae's house in the next scene. And I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. It just wasn't making sense how the scenes was like, how they were getting to these places, because the last scene, it was nighttime. They clearly left the party. In the next scene, Devontae and his friends are walking to his house. I don't know, whatever. They go to Devontae's house, and one of his friends' baby mama is waiting for him outside. Like, and at first I thought that they were going to his friend's house, but it was his house, and I was like, why? But I guess it's the hood. Stuff like that probably does happen in the hood. Like, I live in the country, so I wouldn't know. I have, where I live is still hood, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. So him and his baby mama argue, and she like, where you was at, like, I brought your baby to see you, you wasn't here or whatever. And I'm thinking that she's gonna leave the baby with him, but she doesn't. She like, you need to take care of your son, you need to come get him or something like that. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just leave him there? What was the point of you coming all the way to these people's house? It was stupid to me. Yeah, that scene was confusing to me, because she came all the way there, but she didn't leave the baby. So I was like, whatever. Devontae and his friend, the other friend, starts lecturing the friend with the baby mama about wrapping it up, and he's like, he never will because it feels too good. Then his crazy girlfriend pops up and gets on him about not calling her. She like, I was calling you, you didn't pick up your phone or whatever, you didn't tell me where you were going or whatever. And at this point, it's like, why are they, is this supposed to be like Friday, like how Day, the scene between Day and the girl that said she was pregnant for him, like, it's supposed to be like copying that? If so, it wasn't executed properly. And it was weird to me why they were popping up at Devontae's house. But like I said, I guess in the hood it's not unusual for something like that to happen, but it was happening for no reason. Like, she was like, why you ain't answer your phone, whatever. and ends up just leaving, and like they end up kissing and making up, and she like, I love you, like I'm gonna fix you some, I'm gonna shoot, because she was Hispanic and y'all know how that is. They kind of glorify Hispanic women being angry, but it's sexy when they're angry, but when we're angry, it's not. So it's that type of situation. She starts speaking in Spanish, and like he like, I ain't doing nothing, I'm just sitting here chilling with Devontae, and she like, next time keep your phone on, and she like, I miss you so much, and it just was weird. And like they end up making up, and she like, I'm gonna cook you some tacos, or I'm gonna cook you whatever. It was kind of racist too. I'm gonna cook you whatever, because it was playing into stereotypes, and it wasn't being executed properly. And but as she's walking off, she like, you better answer your phone, and she like, bye, I love you, and just like leaves. And I'm like, what's the point of pulling up on him? Because I feel like, in to me, a more realistic situation would be her coming, pulling up on him, fussing him out, and making him leave with her. But you walk all the way to somebody else's house to confront him about not answering his phone, and you still leave without him. To me, it would have made more sense if she made him leave. Like, come on, you're not about to sit with these niggas all day. I want to spend time with you. Because what's the point? Just because he didn't answer your phone call? And I don't know, maybe there are women who act like that, but I am not about to. I probably done forgot about the nigga. He ain't answer his phone call. When I call him a couple of hours later, I don't even know that I got a boyfriend. Like, so I'm not about to do it, but maybe other women do it. I don't know. So while they're sitting on Devontae's porch, a white lady shows up to ask them about property they live in, because her husband and her might want to buy it. And like, she's asking Devontae where his mom is, and he's like, I think he tells her his mom wasn't there or something like that. And she just stands there and talk to him, but she doesn't ask him to go inside the house so she could look inside. And I was like, what's the point of this? Like, do they just show up and put you on a list or something? Because she was like, I might want to buy your house. And then she leaves. But whatever. But after she leaves, Devontae starts talking to his friends about gentrification, and like telling them what it is and why it's wrong. And his friends are like, that's good. They're coming in the community. They're making it better. Like, that's a good thing. Why should we be mad at it? And he's like explaining to them why it's wrong and it's actually not a good thing. Because, you know, they'll be forcing people to leave their homes or whatever. They'll be buying properties to upgrade them and pushing people out of their homes or whatever. But then his friends don't get it, so he kind of just like, whatever. They're like, why you always so woke? Why you always gotta be show your black power or whatever? And he like, I'm just trying to school y'all on something. So it kind of reminded me of what's the name of the movie, Ricky? God dang it. I forgot the name of the freaking movie. Y'all know what I'm talking about though. Who was that? His character's dad was like talking to them about, was preaching to them about it was a billboard or something like that. He was telling them how they advertise certain things to the hood and how they do certain things to people in the hood or whatever. It kind of reminded me of that, but not executed properly. I gotta remember the name of that freaking movie. It's gonna bug me this whole time. But after that, it goes to a scene where this dude is riding with his girl. She randomly asks him how long she has to sleep with other men to make money. He tries to explain to her that it's for them, like, you're doing this for us. So you're not just sleeping with other men for money, like you're making a living for us, basically. You're taking care of us. And she asks him if he loves her, and he basically gives this vague answer, like, you know how I feel about you, whatever. So no, I don't love you. Because if she asks, then obviously she don't know how you feel. So she starts crying and she tells him, if you love me, then you shouldn't be okay with me sleeping with these men. It don't matter if I'm getting money or not, but like, you shouldn't be okay with that. It's not okay. Like, and I'm tired of doing it. And like, he's like, girl, shut up. And so she just keeps crying. So he pulls the car over and he makes her get out of the car. Then he gets out and chokes her and tells her to stay in her place and shut up. I'm tired of you crying. Shut your mouth. So you and I'm gonna drive you to another one of these niggas' house and you gonna sleep with them and you gonna make my money. And she thinks that this nigga is her boyfriend. Ma'am, that's a pimp. He's a pimp. He's not your boyfriend. But his acting is not believable, like, at all. Like, I'm just like, all right, okay, sir, if you say so, but I don't believe you. So it goes to Bria and her friend going to a nail salon to get their nails done. And like, the way that is like switching back and forth is really choppy. Like, there's no like the space between the scenes is like very choppy. Like, there's no, it doesn't just the transition, it doesn't just transition seamlessly. It is weird. And the way that they're putting these random scenes don't make sense. At least if you're gonna do scenes like random, like that barbershop scene, at least put the main character there. That character could have just been in there sitting waiting to get his haircut, and that scene could have still been good. But why are you putting people that doesn't have anything to do with the story in the story? But they're at the nail salon and like they are talking. They're talking or whatever. And it's switching back and forth to Bria and her friend at the nail salon and Devontae and his friend sitting on his porch or whatever. And their friends are giving both of them advice about how to talk to each other or whatever. Bria's friend is also talking about, she said, girl, this pimp just walked up to me and tried to do something. And she like, I'm not no prostitute, whatever. Like, she just talking about some random stuff. But like, Bria starts talking about Devontae. She's giving him advice, and she like, "Ooh, you like you really like him or whatever. I can tell you like him." And Devontae's friend is pretty much doing the same thing. And Devontae asks Bria on a date, and she accepts his offer. And his friend tells him that he would drive Bria today. He was like, "How?" Because at first it was like, "How you gonna take her on a date? You don't even got a car or whatever." And he was like, I'll drive you. And then Devontae's like, yeah, right. Like, I'm not about to fall for this, whatever. But he like, no, for real, I'll drive you. So it goes to the scene where he actually shows up back to Devontae's house and drive him on the date, and he's actually playing his role. Like, he gets out of the car, he walks around and opens the door for Devontae to get in, then he goes back around to the driver's side, he gets in and drives off, and he goes to pick up Bria. And on their way to pick up Bria, they run into Vanessa Simmons, which is also random and uncalled for, but again, like they did with the dude Meech, they put a face that's familiar to a lot of people so you can watch the movie. You say Vanessa Simmons in the movie, people gonna watch, but I don't know why, because she's not that great of an actress, and also her part was like 3 seconds. It's pointless to put these people as cast, and they don't even have as a main character, and they don't even have a big role. It don't make sense to me, but whatever. So he almost runs into Vanessa, and he sees her, and he's like, oh, that's Vanessa or whatever. That's Vanessa Simmons or whatever. She's like, yeah, you better watch where you're going. And she keeps moving. And she says something else too. I don't know. So on the date, Bria and Devontae get to know each other. She tells him her mom died when she was 2, and her dad and her don't get along. He tells her about his life, about not knowing his dad and being raised by his mom. He also tells her about his older brother that doesn't really come around that often. They food come, Devontae prays, and they eat. The next day, Devontae's brother shows up and they catch up. His brother tells him he's trying to stay out of trouble. He tells him that he has a job working with kids, and he like, I don't even like kids, but this is what I gotta do to report back to my PO or whatever. And he's telling Devontae how hard it is getting out of prison and adjusting to life again. And he encouraged Devontae to get a job to help their mom. He's like, you got to do something, like, because you're a man, like, you need to get a job. You can't just be sitting around, whatever. Mom needs help. I can't only help her but so much. So I need you to help me help her. While they're talking, their little sister comes out and she starts talking about her future and how she wants to be a doctor. And she's just a sweet, bright little girl. Like, instantly fell in love with her. While the siblings are talking, the mom comes out to see her son. They talk to each other, they hug. He gives her some money. And she goes back in the house after, her and the little sister goes back into the house after she speaks. So the brother invites Devontae out and to go out with him and his girlfriend, but Devontae tells him that he doesn't want to go, and he starts talking about Bria. So, they talk for a little while, and then the brother is like, okay, I gotta go to work, and then he leaves. It goes to a scene where one of Devontae's drug dealer friend sees his sister prostituting and confronts her, and it's the same girl from the scene with the pimp. She makes excuses for why she's doing it, and he tries to talk some sense into her. And she's like, she's like, I'm doing this for me and whatever, like my boyfriend or whatever. He's like, he's not your boyfriend. He's a pimp. Like, he's not your boyfriend. What are you talking about? And she brings up him being a drug dealer and telling him, like, you can't judge me because what you doing ain't no better. Like, you ain't no better. And he like, it's not the same. And it's like, it kind of is. It's kind of like in that same arena, that same lifestyle. So like, you can't really judge her because you're doing something that's also bad for money, or what you perceive as bad, because it's your money. Because prostitution ain't hurting nobody, but selling drugs is hurting somebody. But he doesn't think it's the same. It's the same. I do. I actually think that what he's doing is worse. So it goes to a scene where Bria goes to Devontae's house and they're talking and watching TV, spending time together or whatever. The typical date between young people. She tells him she's falling for him too fast and he promises not to hurt her. She tells him she's still scared. And he said not to let her past get in the way of their future. And she asked him, like, okay, you talking all this junk, but like, why you haven't asked me to be your girlfriend? And he was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she's like, let me think about it. And then he like, come on, don't do me like that or whatever. You told me to ask, I asked, give me my answer. And she like, yeah, of course I want to be your girlfriend. And so they start talking and she asks him, what do he believe God put him on this earth to do? And he brings up his poetry. So she asks him to recite something for her. And so he does. She tells him that she likes it and encourages him to write a book. And he like, maybe I might do that. I don't know, but we'll see. Then he asks her, what are your dreams? And she's like, well, I'm still trying to figure myself out. I don't really have any dreams. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. He tells her she'll be good. She'll be good at whatever it is that she decides to do. While they're talking, his mother walks in on them and like he acts nervous or whatever. So obviously she doesn't know that they're in a house or whatever. So he acts nervous at first, but then he gets up and he introduces them to each other. But the mama is like, I don't know. It kind of seems like she's not impressed. I don't know. When it comes to his mom, I feel like they tried to make her the typical like hood mama. But at the same time, they tried to make her have empathy, and it wasn't really giving what it was supposed to give. Because on one end, she acted like she didn't like the girl, but then later on, she does something to make me think that she does, like, she's a good person. Like, they keep going back and forth between her being a good person and her being the typical black mom that lives in the hood. And it just wasn't flowing well to me. But she basically tells Devontae and Bria that she's watching them. Like, I'm watching y'all. I got my eyes on y'all. Don't think y'all getting away with anything. Okay? Devontae and Bria fall asleep watching TV, and he wakes her up to take her home. While they're on their way walking to take her home, her dad pulls up on them and fusses her out for being around hoodlums. Like, he literally is down talking Devontae in front of him, and Devontae doesn't say anything. Like, he tries to hold his peace. He doesn't, he just kind of lets them go back and forth, which is the polite thing to do or whatever. I feel like most people probably would have stood up for their person, but I think what he did was polite. But he stands there while they're going back and forth. And her dad tells her that she can do better, but she stands up for her relationships and tells her that she loves him. Like, I love him. I don't want to do better. Like, I want him. So her dad basically tells her, okay, cool. You want to date him? Don't come back to my house. Leave. You can't be in my house dating a hoodlum. And like, he leaves. So Devontae tells her she can stay with him. And they go back to his house and they ask his mom, and his mom agrees. And she's like, I was in love once, and I also got kicked out of the house for being in love. But I chose to be in love. I chose my relationship or whatever, and I got kicked out of the house too, so I understand. She said, just don't bring no grandbabies in here, but she can stay. So his friends pull up at his house, and he introduces Bria to his friends. And like, they're just talking, and he starts lecturing his drug dealer friend about selling drugs, and his friend is like, man, my mama just got fired from her job. We gotta eat. She needs my help. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help her. And the other friend, while they're talking, gets a call from his girlfriend, and she makes him leave. Like, that's what she should have did the first time when she pulled up at the house, but whatever. She makes him leave. So the drug dealer friend goes to re-up, and then it switches back to Devontae taking Bria to a spot he goes to write his poetry. Like, it's like this spot on top of some building or something like that. So it's switching between these scenes. She asks him how he found the spot, and he tells her his friends and him found it one day after school. And they start talking, and he tells her how beautiful she is, but like, she doesn't believe it. And she is a beautiful girl, but she has low self-esteem, and I don't understand, but at the same time I do, because I feel like her dad makes her feel like she's not good enough. I feel like he criticizes everything that she does, and like, he tries to control her. So she doesn't know who she is because of it, and she doesn't have a high self-esteem. She has a low self-esteem because of the way he treats her. She asks him why he's so good to her, and he tells her because he loves her. And she's like, I love you too. And it's a cute little scene or whatever. To me, this was probably one of my favorite scenes of this movie. And then, they show a few scenes of them spending time together while he's like reciting poetry. He's narrating the poetry while they're spending time together. And he has such a nice voice for spoken word. Like, I love his voice, period. But like, for spoken word, I really love his voice. Like, him narrating, like, I could literally listen to him do spoken word all day. So like, in the scene, they kiss and they have sex for the first time. So it goes back to the drug dealer friend going to re-up again to a different dude. And while the dude gets a phone call and it's like, hey, I gotta take this, sit here for a minute, I'll give you what you came for, whatever. So he gets out and he's talking on the phone, and while he's talking on the phone, the nigga like, this nigga stupid for leaving me in here by myself. I'm finna take everything he got. And so like he steals his money, I think. He steals the money from him. It don't really show you what he takes. He just takes something from his pocket, but I think it's the money. So I think it's the money and the, was it the drugs? Because I feel like he got out and got the drugs and then get back in, but it didn't seem like that's what happened. He probably took both. So, oh, the friend's name is Rex, by the way, because they wasn't calling his name, and then they finally calling him. So, like, he steals from the dude. Bria and Devontae starts talking about Rex, and Bria tells him he needs to stop hanging with him, but he tells her he doesn't need a lecture. Like, don't tell me who to hang with. Don't tell me not to talk to my friend, not to hang with my friend or whatever. This is my friend or whatever. And she's basically like, but he is living a lifestyle that you don't need to be around. Something can happen to you. You need to stop hanging with this nigga, but he doesn't listen to her. So a man in the next scene, a man shows up claiming to be Devontae, his sister, and claiming to be their father, and he tells him his mom isn't home, so he had to come back later. So the man leaves. At first, Devontae laughs and is like, "You funny? Like, I don't got a father. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Nah, I'm your father. Is your mom home?" And Devontae's like, excuse you? You ain't been around this whole time. Now you want to just pop up, talk about, is my mom home? But he leaves because Devontae was like being short with him. He didn't invite him in or nothing like that. He didn't seem like he wanted to talk to him or whatever. He just was being short. And I understood. I would have did the same thing. Bria and Devontae's sister are getting ready in the bathroom together. And they're talking, and his little sister asks Bria if she does affirmations. And Bria is like, no, what's that? What are affirmations? And she like, well, it's basically when you tell yourself encouraging things for you to keep going. She said, you know, you look in the mirror and you tell yourself stuff like, I am beautiful, I am special, I love myself. She like, okay. She like, let's do it or whatever. So she teaches her how to do it, and they like both are in the mirror and they're doing it. And so the little girl is like, after they finish, the little girl's like, I'm about to just ask my mama to do my hair because I got too much hair, I can't do it myself. And so she goes to ask her mom to do her hair, and her mom is, while she's combing her hair, she's telling her that everything about her is beautiful. She's a beautiful black girl. And she tells her that she needs to love everything about her, her pretty hair, her dark skin, and everything. Like, her mama is really like lifting her up, affirming a lot of the things that she wants her to believe about herself. And it's such a beautiful scene to see. But it goes to the scene where Devontae, Bria, and Rex run into the drug dealer that Rex stole from, and Rex sees him and is like, hey, we need to run, we need to get out of here, whatever. So Devontae is like, on the count of 3, we gonna run, we gonna cut through the alley and go back to my house. So they run. So the 3 of them start running, and the dude is like shooting at them while they're running. And they did cut through the alley, and they find this big dumpster to hide behind. And so they hide behind the dumpster, and a dude comes down the road, and it's somebody that's standing beside the dumpster, and they stop and they like, hey, you see where they went? And he like, I ain't saw nothing. And so they kept driving. After the dude leaves, Devontae and them come from behind the dumpster, and they run back to his house. Devontae is mad because the dude shoots at him. And I you know what? This scene kind of got on my nerves because Rex just was like, hey, that's that nigga, let's run. But they never show him telling them that he stole from them or nothing like that. He just was like, run. I guess that's normal. I don't know. And I know when a black person says run, you run, because I would do the same thing. But when we get back home, I'm gonna be like, why was we running? Like, what was we running from? That conversation never happened. He just started getting mad, and he like pacing back and forth. Like, I'm tired of living in this environment. I'm like, nigga, this happened to you once. Chill. Calm down. Calm down. And it didn't happen for no reason. Like, he literally caused this. And he just like mad. But like, he's like, oh yeah, when he gets there, the dad, the sister, and the mom is sitting down eating dinner. And like, Devontae comes in and he's like, I need a gun. I want a gun or whatever. And the dad gets up and he like, no, like, you're not getting a gun. You need to calm down. You're not going outside. You're not doing anything. You get to chill your little behind out. And he like, nigga, you not my daddy. You ain't been here this whole time. Now you here trying to tell me what to do. You not my daddy. You better get out of my face before I punch you in your face. And then he like storms off. I'm like, poor little tank. But while everything going down, his little sister called his brother and was like, hey, this nigga over here tripping. You need to get over here because our daddy here and he mad. He don't want to listen to the nigga. So I need your help. Like, this nigga don't ever be here. Y'all gonna call him to rectify a situation. He just as bad as the daddy. He don't show up either. Why is it different coming from him than it is the daddy? I don't get it. They are the same to me. But his brother shows up like immediately. I'm like, where does nigga live? Do all of these people live in the same neighborhood? They just be walking to each other's house. And I know that California is big, and I know that that's a huge city. Where are they coming from? No. Excuse me. Nobody is driving a freaking car. I haven't seen nobody driving. Where are they coming from? But his brother shows up and starts giving Devontae a lecture. And at first, he not listening. He like, I wanna go back and shoot that nigga. I want a gun. And the brother is like, okay, you wanna be hard? And he got in his face and he started like mushing him and stuff. Like, you wanna fight? Fight me. You wanna get your anger off? Hit me. You about to see. And he like, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be like me. I did the same thing. I was the same way. I ended up in prison. I don't want that to happen. But he still don't want to hear it. So he sits down beside Bria or whatever. And Bria tries to talk him down too. She like, no, you don't need to do this or whatever. And he like, wait, you ain't from here. You came from whatever. You live wherever. Like, you don't know what goes on around here or whatever. And she like, I do know what goes on. I lost my mama to the streets. And then he pauses and he like, dang, I messed up. Why I said it? I forgot she told me her mama died. And at first, because they showed like a flashback of her mama getting killed. And at first, I thought Devontae's brother was who killed her mama, his brother or his dad. And that's what we were going to find out. But that's not what happened. It should have happened like that. And that would have made it more interesting. But that's not what happened. I was like, okay, whatever. So she like storms off or whatever because he hurts her feelings. So she crying. And then she goes back in the house and sits in the living room. And he goes after her. He goes after her and he like, I'm sorry, I should have never said that or whatever. You're right. I know you told me that you lost your mom. And I'm sorry for bringing that up. I should have never brought that up or whatever. And they make up. So it goes to another pointless, unnecessary scene. I don't even remember what it was, but I know it was pointless. It was a filler scene and it didn't make sense. But then it goes to his sister's party. Like, they're having a party for his sister or whatever. And like, the dude that Rex stole from is sitting like across the street or something like that, like watching them or whatever. He's like lurking while they're having a party. And then it goes back to the scene where the prostitute girl is calling her cousin, is like, what was the information you said so I could exit prostitution. I was like, they got a hotline for you to exit prostitution. You can't just like walk away and change your life. You need a hotline. Like, I'm like, is prostitution like an addiction or something? Or maybe they're in danger, so they need to be protected. Maybe that's what it is. But like, she got this hotline for her to exit. And I'm like, you could just say, I don't want to do this no more and walk away. Like, but I guess the dangers that comes with it, because if you got a pimp, then he gonna try to, I guess, kill you if you try to leave or whatever. So I guess that's why. But at the same time, if I'm just calling people on this hotline to talk to them about how I can get out of prostitution, unless they gonna give me a place to stay in another city that this nigga don't live in, what's the point? How does that help me? Like, I don't know, but whatever. Then it goes back to the party. And then like the boy does a drive-by on the party, and like the bullet hits Devontae's sister. She like is going outside she was going outside of the gate fence or whatever to do something, and like he starts shooting and the bullet hits her. Devontae jumps over the fence and goes to his sister, and the mother runs to her. Like everybody just runs over to her, and like they're hysterical. Devontae's hysterical. He starts crying. The mom is crying. And Devontae gets up and goes into the house. He wanted revenge. We gotta go get that nigga. Tell me where that nigga at. We gotta go get him. He killed my sister. Forget all this. Don't be like me, junk. I want revenge. And the nigga Rex is just standing there looking while everybody trying to tell Devontae, no, you shouldn't do that. Like, you need to calm down. You're not thinking clearly. The dude that he met at the party that was encouraging him to continue writing was there. And he was trying to he was telling them niggas, forget all y'all. I don't care what y'all saying. I want to get this nigga. And Rex is like, Your Honor, I need to speak. All laid up. I'm sorry, but it may have been my fault why your sister got shot. Like, I may have stolen something from the nigga. He may have been aiming at me. I'm sorry. Devontae like, nigga, I told you to stop selling them drugs. Like, I been told you to get out of the game. You wouldn't listen to me. Now my sister is dead because of you. Like, I hate you. He was like, it should have been you. And then he changed it and was like, it should have been me. And I'm like, nah, you was right the first time. It should have been him. Because he the one who stole the junk. So, nah, you was right. It should have been him. And so, he tells Rex, he like, where that nigga be at? We about to go roll up on him. So they did. Rex tells him, and him and Rex go to confront the boy or whatever. Bria tries to stop him, but he tells her, go in the house. And she goes, because Bria is out of her element. She don't know what's going on. Her daddy was right. You want to be with these hoodlums? Devontae, that nigga was a good dude at first, but he went to hoodlum real quick. Like, she went to sit in that house because she already know the next thing he was gonna do was slap her. You better go sit down because I done told you to get out my face. So him and Rex find the dude, and Devontae pulls the gun out on him, but he hesitates. So Rex takes the gun and he shoots the nigga himself. Like, you couldn't do it, so I'm gonna do it. First of all, he should have did that in the beginning. It shouldn't have been him and Devontae going, you made that man's sister get killed, you go get the revenge. I'm not coming with you because it's your fault. Or whatever. So it goes to them at his sister's funeral. It's sad because like she was the only person in the movie that just had so much hope, and she was so ambitious and so smart for her age. Like, she was a little girl. She looked to be no more than like 12 years old. She had a good head on her shoulders, but stuff like that always happens to people that it shouldn't happen to. And like, the funeral is sad. Like, I'm crying. Like, the movie is trash, but it did make me cry on that part because like the mama was crying, Devontae crying, everybody just sad because the little girl, the mama was hysterical. Bria gets up to escort her out, and I was like, why is Bria consoling her? Like, literally her boyfriend, the daddy is there, the two sons is there. Why are they not consoling her? But Bria got up and escorts her out, and everybody leaves out of the church, and Devontae sits there, and then he is the last one to leave. But before he leave, there's this dude. The dude that it's a dude that be showing up in these movies all the time. I can't remember one to so I can make y'all see which one I'm talking about. But I probably will put a picture on here. You know, he be in all of these movies. But he shows up and he tells Devontae he's sorry for his loss, and he tells him he's strong for forgiving the boy that killed his sister. And I was like, forgiving him for my uh Rex killed that boy, ain't it? Devontae was about to kill him, he couldn't. Rex killed him. So what you mean forgiving him because he didn't pull the trigger? He's still dead. That's not forgiveness. He just couldn't go through with killing him. But all right. He told him Crips and Bloods could learn a lot from him, and I'm like, no, they can't. No, they can't. They can't learn nothing from that nigga except how to write some poems. And they have a march after the funeral led by Tiana's friends, and that joint was sad too because it's the little kids and they're like marching for her, and they're like giving speeches or whatever about her and about how, you know, the violence needs to stop because Tiana didn't deserve to die. It was so freaking sad, bro. I swear, like the kids was crying, and like that joint, I was like, but it goes to a scene where Devontae is having a book signing, and it ends with him waking up from another nightmare of people holding a gun to his head. Then it flashes to a screen with a like in loving memory, and then there's like a paragraph of names, and it's sad to see something like that. But it goes off there. I give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. Like, it was cool, but it was a lot of unnecessary scenes in it. It didn't make sense. It didn't go with the story. And also, the story was really choppy. Like, it was really choppy. Like, it didn't flow well. It wasn't seamless. But I feel like they were trying to show gang culture in California I without showing gangs, because it wasn't even about gangs. It was about drug dealing niggas. But I guess they were trying to show that culture over there in Compton or whatever. I feel like it would have been a lot smoother if they wove it in better. This is my second time watching the movie. The first time I watched it without taking notes. Like, so whenever I do these reviews, like I watch the movies to take notes, I will watch it first for fun, and then I'll go back and watch it again for notes. I like that it explored not gang culture, because they didn't really show gangs, so I don't even know why they tried to make it a gang thing, because they didn't even really show that. They were showing street culture, how drug dealers, how a lot of the stuff that happens in the streets trickle over to the community, and people have to suffer because of it. But I like that they explored it. By also showing two young people trying to find love in a city where violence is the norm. And like, Bria came from a different side of town than Devontae, and it was showing how those two sides can clash, and how a lot of the times people from that side of town, they don't mess with, you know, the niggas from the hood because of that, because of where they're from. I thought the relationship between Bria and Devontae was cute. And like I said, I even shed some tears, for a couple of the scenes. So like it did get some emotion out of you, but I just feel like it wasn't well written, and shot, directed, whatever. The quality was cool, but aside from that, like it was a good movie. I still think that you should check it out because y'all might like it. I'm looking at it from a writer's perspective, so when I do my reviews, that's how I look at stuff. But I also try to look at the big picture, the theme, what's going on, the story or whatever, the storyline. But I still think it's worth watching, even though I give it a 5.5. And y'all can decide how y'all feel about it. But the name of it is South Central Love, and it's on Tubi. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. And if you watch it after watching this video, let me come back and let me know what you think. What would you rate this movie? Do you feel like it was choppy, or did you think it was cool? But yeah, thank you for watching this review. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Before you go, check out my website at srgraham.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.